Hello everyone, Dr. Rob here. We wanted to do a little bit of a tutorial for you on proper hand washing, proper mask use. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with proper use of masks. So what I'm using today is just one of these disposable surgical masks, but the principles with the surgical masks are the same with the cloth ones. So generally what you want to do is with a new mask, grab it by the ear loops, each loop behind the ear. Okay, so you've got the mask on, and then there's a little metal ribbon in most of them, and that's so that you can fit it down to your face. You want to get a good, nice, tight fit. Make sure you pull it down underneath your chin. So that's how you properly fit a mask. Once you have the mask on, you want to assume that the outside of the mask is contaminated and kind of treat it as the dirty side moving forward. So that's why you don't want to do things like pull it down underneath your chin, because that forces you to touch the outside of the mask. And you also don't want to do this thing where you're just covering your mouth and not your nose. I see that sometimes too. So it should cover your mouth and nose fully and underneath the chin. And you don't want to touch the outside once you get started. So that's proper mask use. Now let's say I've got this mask on and I want to go ahead and take it off. So I want to assume the outside of the mask is dirty. I want to assume that my hands are dirty. And so what we're going to do is move over to proper hand washing techniques so I can take my mask off. So proper hand washing, what you want to do is start out with a pretty good amount of soap, about that much. Turn your water on, move the soap around a little bit, get some lather going, okay? Now there are 6 basic steps to proper hand washing technique. So step 1 is palm to palm. Interlace your fingers. Next step is palm to the back of the hand. Interlace the fingers. Same thing on the other side. Then you want to move thumb to thumb. Then you want to reach underneath, grab like that. Fingertips on the palm on each side. And then back of the hand, and you want to make sure that you get the full base of the thumb when you do that, okay? All right, so those are the 6 basic steps. I know that some people say sing happy birthday twice so you get the full 20 seconds that you're supposed to be washing your hands for. If you do all 6 steps, you'll probably take the 20 seconds. I think I probably took a little longer. So then you want to go ahead and rinse. When you're rinsing, you want to keep your hands down, pointed down. I know in the movies the surgeons walk around with the hands up. You're not going into surgery, so you don't need to worry about that. But what you want to make sure is that you're rinsing anything off down and away from the body when you're washing your hands. So then I'm going to dry off, and if you'll notice, I'm going to leave the water on while I do that. And that's so I can use the paper towel to turn the water off, okay? We can throw that away. So now I assume that my hands are clean, and if I want to take my mask off, what I'm going to do is grab it by the ear loops, assuming that the front of the mask is dirty. Go ahead and take it off, and the way that you should store a mask is in a paper bag. That gives it the opportunity to dry, so if there's any respiratory droplets on the outside of the mask, they can go ahead and dry in a paper bag. You drop it in so that you can grab the ear loop if you need to, pull it back out, and then go ahead and replace the mask without touching the front again, and kind of make sure that it's comfortable. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to use some gloves and some black paint to simulate what most of you will be doing with hand sanitizer throughout the day, to also kind of illustrate why those 6 steps of washing your hands are important. And those are the same 6 steps whether you're using soap and water or if you're using hand sanitizer. This is also a good example of what gloves are well used for, which is just something that you're doing for a brief period of time where you expect to get dirty. You don't want to be using gloves throughout the day. Most people don't wash their gloves throughout the day as they would wash their hands, and so you don't want to use gloves repeatedly throughout the day. They kind of give you a false sense of security. So let's say that this black paint is hand sanitizer, and we'll go through the 6 steps again so you can kind of see why they're important. So you want to get a pretty good amount of what would be the hand sanitizer, and so as we start out, it's going to be that palm to palm. Interlocking the fingers, okay, back of the hand to the palm, interlocking the fingers. Make sure you get the palm on the back of the hand like that. Okay, and then we're going underneath. All right, thumb, 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 fingertips, fingertips, back of the hand, and make sure you get the base of the thumb. And so that should get you pretty good coverage with the hand sanitizer. As you see, I missed a little spot there. And that's really why that 20 seconds is important in going through the whole process, because you kind of want to make sure that you're moving your hands over a lot. So now let's say I've got contaminated gloves. I use gloves for something, you know, for a short period of time, and now I want to know how to take the gloves off appropriately. So this is how you take gloves off. What you want to do is grab it where it's loosest at the palm and get a good grip on it. And then you want to take this off and away from the body. And that way, if anything splatters, it's not splattering on you. Wrap up the one glove inside the other glove. Grab underneath where it's clean. And then again, away from the body. And then you can dispose your gloves with only touching the clean inside. And my hands should come out pretty clean. So I know a few of you might be asking, how could I take my mask on and off and go through this process with a cameraman here that is clearly within 6 feet. So Miguel is actually wearing an N95 mask today. If you want to turn the camera around, Miguel, and show him what you're wearing. So he's wearing an N95, which protects him from my respiratory droplets. That's what we use in the clinic, and so that's why he can be within 6 feet of me while I go through this process. But typically, we'll all be wearing a surgical mask or the cloth mask throughout the day. So I hope this is helpful for you. We appreciate your time, and good luck and stay safe.